Is it working? I have a confession to make. I heard about the camp this morning. I walked in and I saw a little crowd. I was like, yes. Not that I didn't want anyone to be here, but a small crowd is better for me. And when I was sitting down, I saw the families coming in. I was like, my heart was trying to come out. But it is so good to be here this morning. I think it's been a while. I want to thank some people. I want to thank the organizers for the reunion, for a job well done. It ignited a fire in me, hearing the stories and the people who've sacrificed on the 3 days that we had, and also the food. As I said, I've been missing for a while. Not that I hated anyone, not that I didn't want it to be at Oromotai, but I was trying to rebuild a connection through our Fijian community here in Tauranga, and with some other church ministers around. We were having full Fijian service, home service, and we had a hall and we were worshiping in, and it was encouraging. As you know, my brother David knows, when Fijians comes over, they get culture shock, like I did. And also when they are here working, they start receiving that amount of money than what we received at home. They start to get wild with drinking and other stuff. And so was trying to build that full Fijian service connection with our islanders here in Tauranga. That's why I've been missing. And also we're helping Sir Mike with Rotorua. Secondly, just to update on the family is doing well. The family is doing well. It's been 3 years now and you haven't seen Lonisa and the kids here, but to assure you, they are coming. Plans have just changed a little bit, and I ask you for your prayers, and as we go along, trying to achieve what we planning for, and then God willing, the families will be here soon. Thank you all for your prayers for the past 2 years and your continued support to me and to the family and to the church. I would like to say Vinaka Vakalevu. This morning is about Nehemiah working together to rebuild. Another confession, I saw the preaching roster a month ago, sent around by John and Sir David Nelson. I skimmed through it and I said, oh, there's a lot of good preachers in Oromotai. And once I skipped through it and it's like God convicted me. You need to take a lesson. And I chose this lesson. And looking back, I don't know why I chose this lesson, but it related to me. Working together to rebuild. And so that'll be our lesson this morning. If you have your Bibles, be in Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 11 to chapter 3, verse 32. No, brothers and sisters, we won't read through the whole verses that I've mentioned, because we'll take the whole day here in church. We will look at some of the verses that will draw our lesson this morning, that will encourage, and I do pray that it'll encourage you. It has encouraged me looking at these few verses. And I would like to thank John for the introduction last week, the lessons that he brought. And as we look to the lessons this week, before we move on, I want to ask this question: how many of us loves or likes to rebuild things And I know that, yeah, many of us likes to rebuild things. And just a little story. For the past 7 years of being in ministry, after graduating from the college, going back to Savu Savu, and as I looked at some of the pictures that I have, the whole ministry was about rebuilding. And also I can relate to the book of Nehemiah when he went back to trying to get the people together to rebuild their wall, the wall of Jerusalem. 2016, a cyclone hit our country in Fiji. It was a severe category 5 cyclone. It destroyed our house. I was at the Bible college for 1 week. I didn't contact the family back at home. And so once I made contact, I got the message that our house was badly destroyed. And so we planned to go back to rebuild with the help of Oromotai, with the help of the South Pacific Bible College and other churches in America through Sir Steve. We went back to rebuild. And after that rebuild, we had another 5 cyclones, but our house stood till to this day. And I'm very grateful. 2019, we worked on a project rebuilding the bridge back at home. It was an old bridge. It was a bridge that connected our school children to the school nearby. It was a bridge that connected the families, those who are going to work to earn a living. Because there's a creek that's running. For those who've been home, there's a small creek. If you've been there on a fine day, you would notice that creek, sometimes water filled up to that bottom of that bridge. And 2019, we started rebuilding with the help of the villagers, the boys, and with the help of Oromotai. With the help of the South Pacific Bible College, we rebuilt that bridge. 2019, David and a group came over, and that was the complete bridge. But then we went back. That was the new bridge with concrete, full strong connection. Not only that, brothers and sisters, 2019, we rebuilt the church. We extended the church building. See the picture on the right, there was me when the church building was just a roof and no walls. And then 2019, the team came over and we started rebuilding. And I was looking at these pictures. It brings back those good memories of rebuilding. Now that's the building now, 6 years down the line. And we've gone through how many cyclones? It has stood till today. 2024, we went to Botuanga Church of Christ. They needed help in rebuilding the bridge. I worked with it that connected the community to the church, that connected the church to the town, to the city. It was an area that would say no one wanted to live in it. But through the help of David Austin, David Ross, Oromotai Church, we have been rebuilding, brothers and sisters. We went back and we constructed a beautiful bridge. And within that note, I would ask you to keep on praying for the church. Just a message out there. Just a few months ago, they received the letter. They will be evicted. And so I haven't heard anything else, but be praying for them. And I think the team is going out again this year to help with Nandera. We have been rebuilding, brothers and sisters. We have been rebuilding. 2025, I told the Austin family that I'm spending Christmas back at home. And so Sir Mike and Auntie Sue called me and he said, we have some funds and we would like you to use it in the community. And we, just after that bridge that we built, further up home, there's another small bridge, just a small bridge. But as I said, on a fine day, you wouldn't notice that water rises up above that bridge. And so, with those funds, we went back with the team, with the boys back at home. We rebuilt We rebuilt, and you can see on one of the pictures, there's a 10-ton truck or 10-wheeler going over that small bridge. No engineer, just a group of boys coming together with the help of the Austin's family and everyone. We rebuilt. For the past 6 or 7 years in ministry, we have been rebuilding. We have been rebuilding. So, brothers and sisters, the story this morning is Nehemiah rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. It's a masterclass in leadership, strategic planning, and community mobilization. It offers a timeless lesson of how to tackle overwhelming projects, overcome relentless oppositions, and unite a group of people towards a vision. A vision to rebuild. To rebuild something that has been broken. And brothers and sisters, rebuilding together, a few things that we need to look at. And if we look at the story, as I said, we won't read the whole chapter 2 and chapter 3, but we will look at some verses that as I was looking into it, reading it for the past 2 weeks, it has encouraged me. And I can totally agree. And I do hope that if you hear it this morning, you will be encouraged by it too. One thing that I want to bring up to us this morning is working together to rebuild. It requires a time for prayer. It requires a time for prayer. As we see the story, Nehemiah heard the news. He wept, he fasted, and he prayed to God. And we ask this question, why did he weep? Chapter 1, verse 4, he says, "They said to me, those who survived the exile are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burnt with fire. When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I moaned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven." Brothers and sisters, he was standing there and he heard the news that the walls of Jerusalem have been broken down. He didn't take action straight away. What did he do? He wept and he prayed. In order to rebuild, there needs to be a time of prayer. There needs to be a time of weeping. There needs to be a time of to assess. He heard about the wall that has been broken down and the gates have been burnt. Now, why is the wall important? We ask that question. Why is this wall so important that he wept? Brothers and sisters, this morning, the wall was important to them because it was their first line of defense from their enemies. The wall was their protector. They felt safe inside the city because they are surrounded by this massive wall. They felt secured when the wall stood, but now it has been broken down, destroyed. The people are vulnerable. They are exposed to danger. And Nehemiah could feel the urgency to do something. But one thing funny is, when he heard the news, he didn't stood up straight away and went and fixed the problem. He took time of prayer. He prayed. He wept. When he heard the news, he went down on his knees and prayed. He prayed for so many days and fasted so that God can work through him. Even though there was an urgency of rebuilding, those who survived the exile are in dire need through the story. They were in great trouble and disgraced. Action needed to be taken, but Nehemiah went down on his knees, wept, fasted, and prayed to the Almighty. The first thing he thought was God. God will work in this. Now, when we hear that, brothers and sisters, what about you and I this morning? In our lives. When we hear bad news, when we hear news that requires attention, do we take a minute to pray? Do we take a minute to get God involved in what needs to be done? Asking God for guidance. Asking God to lead the way. Asking God to provide the resources. Because when God is missing, we will boast about ourselves. Secondly, brothers and sisters, in order to rebuild, working together to rebuild, it requires a time to assess and recognizing the problem at hand. Listen to the story this morning in Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 11 to 16. This is what Nehemiah did. I went to Jerusalem, and after staying there for 3 days, I set out during the night with a few others. I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. By night, I went out through the valley gate towards the jackal, where a dung gate, examining the walls of Jerusalem, which has been broken down, and its gates, which has been destroyed by fire. He went around, when he got into the city, he went around assessing what was wrong. He went around trying to come in terms of what needs to be done. In order to rebuild, brothers and sisters, we need to take time to assess and to recognize there is a problem. Something needs to be done. And it says, so I went up the valley by night, examining the wall. Finally, I turned back, re-entered through the valley gate. The officials did not know where I had gone or what I was doing, because as yet I had said nothing to the Jews or the priests or the nobles or officials or any others who would be doing the work. Brothers and sisters, we read that Nehemiah went around assessing the problem. He wanted to see for himself the work that needs to be done, and formulate a plan for the reconstruction of the wall. And I could relate to this. When we were doing those projects, it wasn't when they needed help, we stood up and went. No, we took time of prayer. Didn't we, David Ross? We took time to assess, okay, this needs to be done. Because if we would have turned up in doing the project, we would be lost. We wouldn't know what to do. It took time. Just the other day, while the team was planning to do this mission trip to Nandera and work on their church building and construction of the roof. I don't know whether I was supposed to say this or not. It's out there. For the past week, my brother he's been sending me a message. Have you talked to your cousins? Have you talked to your brothers? What is your plan? Just this morning I sent him a message. Yes, I've talked to them. But they will be there soon, reassessing what needs to be done. With that comes the code and the plan of action. And then we can relate to Nehemiah. He didn't just stood up and go over to Jerusalem to rebuild that wall. He assessed it. By night, he walked through the whole wall trying to see what was wrong. Yeah? So for us this morning, brothers and sisters, second thing that I want to say, working together to rebuild, it requires assessing, it requires recognizing there is a problem. And not only, and you see, as we read down, verse 18, also told them about the gracious hand of God of my God on me and what the king has said to me. He encouraged the people after recognizing the problem at hand. And also, it is impossible to start rebuilding if we do not assess and recognize what is at stake. Brothers and sisters, God will provide if we raise our hand to take on the task at hand. God will provide. My two brothers can testify to this. For the past 6 or 7 years, God has been providing while we were rebuilding. And this was the reply. When Nehemiah informed the people then that they will be rebuilding, that God has sent him to rebuild that wall, because that wall meant security for them. This was the reply. They replied, "Let us start rebuilding." So they began to do the good work. After they assessed the problem, they came to an agreement that work needs to be done. Thirdly, brothers and sisters, teamwork is needed. There is no I in team. Teamwork is needed. In chapter 3, going down, in order to start rebuilding requires working together. The key word here, brothers and sisters, is what? Together. Working together. We can only achieve great things if we work together. The walls was rebuilt because Nehemiah didn't work alone. The wall was rebuilt because they worked together. Each and everyone that was there at Nehemiah's time, they had their own task to do. The whole chapter of Nehemiah chapter 3, the whole chapter of chapter 3, verses 1 to 32, is about people working together. If you read that whole chapter, it's about people working together. They had their own task. Someone building this, someone building that. Verse 1, Eliashib, the high priest, and his fellow priest went to work and rebuilt the ship's gate. Verse 2, the men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zakur, son of Imri, built next to them. Verse 3, the fish gate was rebuilt by the son of Heshana. Verse 4, Merimoth, son of Uriah, the son of Hezbo, repaired the next section. Verse 5, the next section was repaired by the men of Tekoa. So everyone came together to rebuild. They had their own task to rebuild. And what was amazing is everyone came together. And down the line, Jeshaniah gate was repaired by Jehoiada. Next to them, repairs were made by the men of Gibeon and Mizpah. Verse 28, above the horses' gate, the priest made repairs, each front of his own house. While the whole chapter of chapter 3 is about teamwork. Now, what does that remind us? What does that remind us this morning? And as I read this, I could relate to what Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12 to 17. We are the body. Everyone has his own work, but working together for the greater good of God's people. No one can say, oh, I'm alone on this. I'm alone in this. The eye cannot say, I don't need the hand. The feet cannot say, I don't need the eyes. Just like the whole body connected to the head, which directs the movement of your body, so are we sitting down here this morning. Maybe you're looking at the pictures and you said, oh, I wasn't there in Fiji. But you supported in any way. By prayer, by finances, working together to rebuild. We can only achieve our mission and our vision if we work together. But the last thing that I want to say this morning, in every good work that we do, expect opposition. Expect opposition. Did Nehemiah had opposition? Chapter 2, verse 19. But when Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the Amorite official, and Gesem the Arab heard about it, they mocked and they ridiculed us. Every great work that we do, there'll be an opposition, there'll be enemies. They said, what is this to you that you are doing? Are you rebelling against the king? Brothers and sisters, these were Nehemiah's opposition. 3 local leaders. They heard that the Jews planned to fix the broken walls of Jerusalem. Their reaction was they laughed at the people and showed deep contempt for the plan. They falsely accused Nehemiah and the workers for trying to start a rebellion against the Persian king. But God was with them all through the journey. Now, if you read the whole book of Nehemiah through chapter 5 onwards, Nehemiah will be faced with some brutal opposition, trying to stop him from completing the vision. Let us bring this closer to our lives, brothers and sisters. Now, we've heard about Nehemiah. We've heard about the missions back at home. We've heard about what I have been doing for the past 6 years before coming back to New Zealand. And even while here in New Zealand, what we have been connecting to. Now, let's bring this closer to our individual lives. We will not begin to rebuild the walls of our lives until God brings us to a place of seeing things as they are. Look at our individual lives. What walls you need to rebuild? What walls you need to rebuild in order to stop the enemy from coming in? What walls do I need to rebuild in my life in order for me to achieve that vision, that mission? When we honestly ask God to open our eyes, ears, and hearts to the broken, unfinished, damaged, cracked, and the crumbled areas of our lives, it can hurt. It can hurt. But I do know this, brothers and sisters. We will never rebuild unless we allow God to show us things that they really are. The things that needs to be done. Have we taken a good look at ourselves and the broken places in our own life? Have we stopped long enough to assess what God wants for us compared to where we are in our lives? And no matter what good we try to do in this world, we will face our enemies. But let me end you with this. Jesus affirmed the listeners when he preached the Sermon on the Mount. And he said this, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets that were before you." Yeah? So let us come together to rebuild. May God bless his words this morning. I shall invite Brother Colin for the song and before we end with a prayer.